because astral projection happens in an altered state of awareness, you can springboard from a dream, from a shamanic journey, from any kind of altered state, meditation, into an out-of-body experience. When this happened to me for the first time, it changed the course of my life. When I saw myself separate from my physical body, I realized I'm not limited to it. And if I'm not limited to my physical body, maybe there are other areas of my life that I'm not limited to either. In fact, maybe there are no limitations, only possibilities. And I realized, oh my God, so much suffering is attached to the physical body. Okay, we have 50 minutes together in this time space, because we're already together in the astral, right? To look at astral projection. So for the first half, what I'd like to do is a whistle-stop tour of astral projection, because I appreciate some people might have had experiences, but some people might have been dragged here by their friend and have absolutely no idea what they are come here for and what astral projection is. And then in the second half, I would like to open it up to a Q&A. So this is going to be a bit more interactive than Charlie's talk. And the reason why is because there's always inspiring questions that people want to ask with astral projection. And I know you've got some good questions because you've all been asking me for the past 2 days in the hallway out there. So I want to make sure that we have time for that. And then at the end, we're going to do a bit of an exercise that's quite fun that I do with all my beginners. But for now, I'd like you to imagine something. Imagine if your sense of self could shift outside of your physical body. You're not dying, you're not on drugs, and you're not going mad. Your awareness can move beyond your body, and you can bring back information. If you could, you'd call it magic, right? It's not magic. It's real. And I can teach you how to do it. Who here has heard of astral projection? Show of hands. Most of the audience, yes. Okay. Who here thinks they might have had an astral projection experience? Wow, amazing, about half the audience. Okay, out of you that put up your hand, who here has had an astral projection experience from doing the quest? Yes, oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I can see. Well done. You had an out-of-body experience in 28 days. Do you know what I said to Vishen when he said, Jade, can you help people get out of their body in 1 month? I was like, that's a pretty tall order. It's a challenge because in the yogic tradition, it's considered a siddhi, a superpower that you get usually as a side effect, an epiphenomena of advanced meditation. So you guys that had that experience from the astral projection quest is amazing. It's genuinely amazing that you've had that in 28 days. Well done. Can we give them a round of applause for doing that in 28 days? Cool. Okay, I'm going to get my clicker. I've never worked with one before, and I forgot to put it in my hand. So I'm going to go grab it. I'm assuming it's this. Okay, and let me just test the slides. I feel like I should point it here. Okay. Cool. So, out of those that put up their hand, what do you think astral projection might be? What's going on there? This is the interactive bit. Who can maybe give me something about what astral projection might be? Yeah.
For me, it's removing the limitation of my own thinking.
Removing?
Removing the limitations of all thinking.
Yeah. Fantastic, amazing, brilliant start. Removing limitations from our thinking. He's already mentioned one of the benefits and going into the formless, because of course, if you've had an experience, you shift from the physical into the non-physical realms. Really nice. Who else has got anything to add to that? What might be happening when we have an astral projection experience? Yeah.
It's that moment when you're kind of in a meditation state, and then you feel the pulled out of your body.
Yeah.
And then, you can move around without the body. So it's wild.
Perfect. And I love that she did this. You can move around. Because does you feel like that? You come out of your physical body and you think, oh, I'm just going to be exactly the same as when I'm in the physical. And sometimes you move out and you're like backwards, and sometimes you're all wiggly, wobbly, and wavy, and sometimes you're like a cloud, and you kind of fizzle out. So I love that you did that body movement. But yes, you have this sense of separation from the body. And in transpersonal psychology, we call it your self-awareness seems to go beyond your body. So that was a really lovely description. Has anyone else got anything to add, maybe a different thought or perspective? Yeah.
Traveling between space and time, the in-between.
Yes, traveling between space and time. So you come out of your physical body and you have this sense of things aren't quite what they seem. You have no sense of time. Unlike lucid dreaming, when you have a lucid dream, time operates more or less in the same way. Whereas when you astral project, you can feel like you've been there for ages, and it could be a minute, or vice versa. So you go beyond time and space and enter into these kind of other realms and dimensions. Okay, one more. Who's got something? Yeah.
Yeah, to me, when I lucid dream, it happens when I'm dreaming. But with astral projection, I actually consciously decide now I want to go out to my body. So I actually lay there and I try to go out to my body from an awakened state, doing it consciously. But in a dream, it just happens if I do my practices.
Exactly. Brilliant explanation. What I love there is most dreamers accept that they're dreaming. They go, whoa, I'm in a lucid dream. I'm dreaming. When you have an astral projection experience, you're like, I am not in Kansas anymore. This is a different space. You feel, like this lady says, that you come out of your physical body. And I love that you said that you made the decision, you had the intention. So she self-initiated it, which is what we're going to talk about today. So it's not a dream. It is not sleep paralysis, where this is this thing where your body freezes, but your mind wakes up and sometimes you see scary hallucinations. It's also not a lucid dream, which if you've attended Charlie's talk, is a dream in which you know you are dreaming. And it's not also a shamanic journey, which sometimes it gets mistaken for, which is when the shaman co-creates a reality and guides you within that. However, because astral projection happens in an altered state of awareness, you can springboard from a dream, from a shamanic journey, from any kind of altered state, meditation, into an out-of-body experience. And so, I think it might be a little bit easier, perhaps for those that haven't had this experience, to see what it might look like and what it might feel like. So I've put together this video for you to watch so you can see what the sensation might be like. Now, I took some clips from some movies, so take it with a pinch of salt, but I tried to choose the best clips that I felt gave that sensation. So I hope you enjoy the video.
It's useless. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Who are you in this vast multiverse?
teach me.
You can do that. Every single person in this room can do that, can astral project, can leave their physical body. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, this is only for monks that are in caves, or this is for shamans, it's not. If you are human, you can do this because it is a natural human experience. One of my teachers, William Buhlman, from the Monroe Institute, he's the OBE, out-of-body experience teacher there. He told this story about this guy who would come out of his bed every other night and sit on the end of his bed. Simple guy, not spiritual, did a 9-to-5 job, worked in a shop, and it just kept happening to him. And he was like, do you know what, Bill? I just want to sit on the end of my bed. I'm not up for this, not one bit. I don't want to do this. I just want to go back into my body and get on with my life and live a simple life. Bill told this story, and I'm like, what? You have the amazing universe at the end of your fingertips, access to time, space, infinite potential. You will see that you are an eternal being and can do anything. And he wants to sit on the end of the bed. But it just goes to show anyone can do it. And it does happen spontaneously to people. When this happened to me for the first time, it changed the course of my life. And it's the reason why I'm standing here speaking to you today. And this is because when I saw myself separate from my physical body, I realized I'm not limited to it. And if I'm not limited to my physical body, maybe there are other areas of my life that I'm not limited to either. In fact, maybe there are no limitations, only possibilities. And I realized, oh my God, so much suffering is attached to the physical body. Think about it. Sexism, racism, homophobia. When the physical body is injured, we suffer. When our sense of self is insulted, we suffer. And it's because this is all we think we are, a body and a mind. When we have an out-of-body experience, we have direct proof that we are more than matter, more than mind, more than our limited sense of self. And this knowing can change everything. When this happened to me, my first big experience as an adult, I was in the height of my career. I was a choreographer, I ran a dance company, we had an education, community and professional program, and we'd been working on a project for about 4 years, waiting to get this big investment, doing all of the studies. And I got the email through that said, we're going to fund this, we're going to roll out your dance project across the UK. But I'd had this big experience. So I had a lot of internal conflict. I had a whole team of people, and entrepreneurs in the room will know that when you've been working towards an investment, of course you want to grab it and say yes. But I replied back to the email, thank you, but no thank you. I couldn't go on doing the same work that I was doing, knowing what I knew now. So I took the decision to leave. I handed my company over to my wonderful team, and then I went back to university. So I studied Transpersonal Psychology, which is the study of consciousness, spirituality, and psychology, and I looked at the impact of out-of-body experiences. So what happened after someone has one? How were they before? How are they different? And how does that impact the psyche? And I found 7 common themes. These were decreased fear of death. This was number 1. If there was one biggie, this is number 1. A complete decreased fear of death, if not, no fear of death at all. There was less anxiety, more inner peace, a change of relationships. People let go of toxic relationships and found new ones. They felt more spiritually connected, had an increased sense of individuality. This is interesting because often you have a sense of interconnectedness, serenity, oneness. And paradoxically, that made people feel a sense of their individuality. And then there was a greater self-awareness and a radical new life view. This radical new life view was the biggie. This was the big one because it changed, like me, the course of my life and also the course of Beverly's life. Beverly was a stressed out American. She worked in corporate TV. She had a great job, good money, good family, but she just wasn't happy. She didn't feel fulfilled doing the job that she had. And one night, she found herself floating outside of her body. And she decided to travel to Egypt. She didn't know why. She felt a real pull, a real beckoning to the land. And she flew over this map, this atlas, and then zoomed in, because of course you can teleport, which the CIA later reported you can do through astral projection, to Egypt. And she dropped down, she said she dropped down in this dusty little town. And she landed there and she felt a real strong connection and the pyramids were in front of her. And she was just, wow, I've been here before. And then she looked to her right and she thought, there's a fast food joint there. What's this fast food joint doing in this beautiful sacred land? She was absolutely mad as hell about it, and she said, Jade, oh my God, you will not believe this fast food joint. I was so angry, and I apologize to all my American friends for my terrible American accent. And she came back to her body, and when she came back, she said, and I quote, that experience showed me the truth of who I am and the potential of who I can be. She left her job in corporate TV. She's now a full-time massage therapist, and she takes people on trips to the sacred sites in Egypt. She went back to the same town that she saw in her out-of-body experience. Guess what was there? The fast food joint. And she was still mad as hell about it. Frankly, I would be too. And the reason why it is so impactful is it's because in transpersonal psychology it is considered an exceptional human experience. Now you might have heard of a peak experience where you have these wonderful moments of awe, intensity, expansiveness, and you receive knowledge. An exceptional human experience is like a peak experience on acid. This is because it is more... it shatters more the self-image of who you think you are and rebuilds it back up, which is actually why sometimes people can have a spiritual crisis or what we call a spiritual emergency after an OBE because of that impact. And the psychologist who invented the term said, an exceptional human experience shatters our image of self or soul and can result in transformation. It evokes cataclytic transpersonal insight. What is transpersonal? Transpersonal means going through and beyond the ego, through and beyond the self, beyond the limitations, the gentleman said, that we thought we are and could be. She said, it extends the limits of who we are and what we perceive reality to be, thus allowing us to know more and do more, as in Beverly's story. And so there are three types, and the exceptional experience ties in with the evolutionary OBE. I coined this term from my research because there was something I found out from everybody. And this is that they happened at a certain time in their life. Now, there's something you should know about my research. I studied healthy, normal people. So I didn't study people with mental health issues. These were just everyday folk having astral projection experiences. Evolutionary OBEs happened at a crossroads in their life. They needed to make a decision. They were emotional about something. They felt stuck in some kind of way. And so my theory is that an evolutionary OBE happens when the psyche, Greek word for soul, needs to shift and self-actualize. And so it's almost like the psyche makes a spontaneous out-of-body experience happen so that it can self-actualize into existence a new sense of self and open a new pathway into that reality that reflects that self. This is what we call an evolutionary out-of-body experience, and this is what I teach in the quest. The second one is provoked. Who here has had a near-death experience? Show of hands. More people than I thought. I'm nodding like this, and I'm actually getting shivers at the moment looking at you because I know. I know what the experience how it can impact you. It is radical, it's life-changing. So a provoked out-of-body experience, we call these forced ones, is when the body or the mind becomes compromised in some way. Either it becomes injured and you have a near-death experience, or through fear. Charlie, who just gave the talk now, when he first started speaking, used to get stage fright. And one time in his early talks, he got stage fright and he came out of his body. He went, saw everything for a few moments, just whoa, and dropped back down. And so you can have them from a panic attack or as a side effect, as a coping mechanism to deal with what situation you're in. And then self-initiated. This is what we are going to learn on Friday at my workshop 2 till 4. Self-initiated means it happens willingly. We use our intention to have one. But why? Why would we want to? The shamans, Buddhists, and yogis have been doing this for hundreds of years. The ancient Egyptians would carve instructions of out-of-body experiences into the rock faces of temple walls. The Greeks would practice or do astral projection in the mysterious Elysian rituals that they would use to initiate the highest order of people. And there was this anthropological study that looked at this around the world. They looked at 60 cultures and they said, okay, out of these 60 cultures, 90% said, yeah, we've heard of out-of-body experiences, it's a thing. Out of that 90%, 46% said, yeah, and we have a practice for it. We do this so that we can leave our body and go across the Himalayan mountains to get to teachings from our masters at the other end of the country that we can't get to in body. And we bring that information back to our community. We do this to go find where the buffalo have gone, where the herds have gone, so we can come back to our body and tell the hunters where to go and hunt the next day. We do this so we can manifest things into existence, receive guidance, and help others. We do this so that at the point of death, we can meet the end of our life, not only with no fear, but with joy. Imagine that, being able to meet the end of your life with genuine joy. They say, we do this to awaken. And of course, the CIA caught wind of it, didn't they? They were like, oh, what's going on here? They're doing all of these crazy shit. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if it's real. So the CIA went and practiced this in the late 1970s to the early 80s. They sent a team of their agents over to the Monroe Institute, which is the world's largest institute for out-of-body experiences. In fact, we partnered with them to make the tracks for the quest. So the stuff that you hear on there, the hemisync, the binaural beats, was produced by the Monroe Institute. They went over there, the CIA, and they wrote a report. This is what they said in the report. The out-of-body state may be regarded as an extremely effective way to accelerate the process of enhancing consciousness and of interfacing with dimensions beyond time-space. They fully agreed that there are other dimensions. In fact, they based this on a theory called holographic universe, which is not dissimilar to simulation theory, if you know about that. And they said these advanced state of altered consciousness can allow you to travel anywhere in an instantaneous basis. If you get in touch with me, I will send you this. This is not a conspiracy theory. You can download the report from their website. So this is pretty cool. And they did a film about it called The Men Who Stare at Ghosts. It's passed as a comedy, so take it with a pinch of salt. But it was based on this program called the Stargate program, which they went to do this. So I'm going to hold it there because I've said quite a lot of information. So I want to open it out to questions. So who would like to ask a question? Is there anything that you feel, oh my God, what the heck? Yeah.
I think so. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. This is such an interesting topic. Coming from a country with a religious background, many people think, and I don't think this is real, so that's why I'm asking you, that if you leave your body, maybe another soul or being entity can enter your body. Is that real or not?
Great question, and I'm really glad she asked that because I imagine there's quite a few other people thinking the same thing. I'm getting lots of nods of heads, exactly. So, I call there 3 irrational fears when people come to do out-of-body experience that I work with beginners. One is, will I get possessed? Will I get attacked by an entity whilst I'm out of my body? And will I come back to my body, or will I die a great death? The answer is no to all of those things. However, and you'll realize I never give a straight answer because I don't think there is one straight answer for everything. It depends on the perspective, the view that we're looking at it from. If we're looking at it from a shamanic perspective, a Buddhist perspective, a neuroscience perspective, or a psychology perspective, they will all say different things, and we don't know which one is true, which is why I say explore for yourselves and make up your own mind. But what I can definitely say is that all of the top teachers in the world, most of them which I've interviewed, will all say, no, it's not possible. And if you'd like a little bit more of a spiritual answer to that, the Buddhist view is that your karma connects you so strongly to this body and what you have to do in this lifetime, that it is not possible for you to just simply go, okay, I'm going to let this entity take over and go and do something. It is so tightly ingrained with the essence, the residue of your past lives, that it is just not possible. So I hope that offers some sort of answer. But if you do have that concern, and maybe your religion offers that perspective, there are lots of techniques that I teach, protective techniques that you can do beforehand that allow those things not to come into happening. Does that make sense?
Amazing, thank you.
No worries. Yeah, waving your hand over there.
Hi, my name is... Okay, Ellie. Took me a very long time to realize that I have maybe a tendency sometimes to get out of my body, but to do it in a very conscious way, to intend it. I feel like I hope this will make sense for you. I feel sort of a plug, and when I'm very conscious, it feels like a tiny heart attack. So I get really scared, and then I come back immediately. So I've been trying to bypass, like when I went to studying like lucid dreaming, I ended up in Astral Projection. I was like, yeah, I'll do that instead. But whatever I'm conscious doing it, I freak out when that happens. When I feel like I really go, I come back immediately.
Yeah. That is completely normal. Oh my God, the amount of times I hear that in my workshop. So I just want to say you're not the only one that happens to. People come out and then they freak out and then they go back in. Firstly, that's brilliant you naturally have that. Like, that is really good. It's quite rare, so that's a fantastic thing that you can work with. The second thing, just to tell a story, I was the consultant for Behind Her Eyes, which is a series on Netflix that uses lucid dreaming and astral projection. And I did a workshop with the cast, and the main character who plays Eve had, I was quite surprised, she had an experience in the session. As I said, it can take 2 weeks to a month for some people, and she managed to get her energy head, her astral head, out of her body. And as soon as it happened, she went, whoa, and shot back in. Because as soon as we freak out, panic, we get too scared or too excited, you're back in your body. Which is why I teach a mindfulness approach, so we can stay calm, be and accept everything that is there, surrender to the experience and be with it. So I reckon if you just did a couple of techniques, you would be able to curb that fear, because it is normal. And it's what we call a beginner's mind, which I've applied from Buddhism. When you become an advanced astral projector, we call it being a mature astral projector, because we've gained the qualities of mind to be able to hold the experience. The fact that you're having them is fantastic. Are you coming to the workshop on Friday? Yes, amazing. I'm going to teach you a technique where you can stay calm so you can go into any environment. No worries. Let's even out the sexes. This gentleman's pointing. Okay, go on then.
Hi, thank you for this. My question is, once you are an avid astral projector, that's what you can call the person, how often do you do this?
Great question. Do you know what? People go, I actually had someone ask me last night, I was at a dinner party and they were like, oh my God, so do you go out of your body all the time? Are you just visiting here? Do you go? And I'm like, no, I go out when I need to. If anyone's done plant medicine or any intensive therapies like breath work, you don't go and do it all the time, do you? You do it when you need it, and you do it when there's a call for it. So when I feel that there's a call, I'm like, okay, I need some guidance, I need a question, I need some healing, then I'll go and have an out-of-body experience. Of course, sometimes it just spontaneously happens. And I want to mention, if you've ever been on the cusp of sleep and you've started seeing crazy colors or patterns, or you've felt vibrations, or you felt a little bit floaty, sometimes it can just spontaneously happen because you hit the right conditions, the right altered state for it. I call this the sweet spot. So sometimes you don't even have to have an intention, like the lady over there. It can just happen as well. So I just wanted to flag that up in case you'd felt that experience. It might show that you have a capacity to do it naturally. I hope that was helpful in some way. Gentleman here with the, yeah.
Hello, I actually did the Astral Projection quest. I started it last couple of months ago, but then in the second week I stopped, and the reason is that I saw, like, when I was lying in my bed, I think it was something with counting down as well, I saw these very weird shapes happening, and it was so scary for me that I stopped it. I don't know what's happening there, if this is like limitations coming up, or...
Yeah, mate. No, I'm with you. It is like this lady, it's really normal. So you start entering this altered state, you begin to access and sense things that maybe you wouldn't in everyday ordinary consciousness. And so you might have a sense of presence. You might feel your body weighs differently, very heavy or very light. You could get different colors coming. I know that I have the capacity to astral project because in the hypnagogic, which is on the cusp of sleep, I start seeing purple and green circles. But sometimes you'll see shadows coming in and out. Sometimes I see faces. You can hear voices. Music, singing. Some of my students, I hear voices, they hear singing. And one of my students heard beautiful angelic singing. She knew she was in a different realm, but she couldn't see it, but she could sense and feel it. And she didn't have a full-blown OBE, but she changed her career off the back of that experience. And that wasn't even a full-blown OBE, but she just knew she was in this heavenly realm. And it just confirmed for her, as we saw in the 7 effects, that it increases your spiritual connection. So I would say it's normal, go for it. Fears is gonna happen. You've got to enter the unknown, yeah? We've got to let go and enter the unknown. But the other thing, and I like the fact that you said scary shadows, is there's this idea of a guardian on the threshold. So when you first start, you might get tested. Crazy stuff might happen. Something might come in, a voice might go and say a message, and you'll be like, what the heck is that? So there's this idea of a guardian on the threshold where you may be tested to see if you're ready to enter the unknown, to overcome these fears, to meet these limitations. So I would say, go with it and surrender, because not everything appears what it seems. One of my friends who's a teacher, he came out of his body and he saw this shadow walk towards him. So he was in a full-blown OBE, the shadow person is walking towards him. He stands there, he's like, oh my God, what is this? But he's a mature astral projector, so he knows things aren't perceived in the same way without everyday consciousness. So he just waits and he allows it to come. He stays calm and he surrenders. It phases into view, and it's his son, and his son is there with him, and he's like, oh my God, we're in this shared astral projection together. Let's go and do something. So they went on this wonderful journey, and then the next day, they corroborated the experience. He spoke to his son, and they didn't tell each other. He asked his son questions, and his son was saying back what had happened. Now, if he'd have freaked out and go, oh my God, this is a shadow creature, come to get me and take my body, he wouldn't have had that amazing experience. And in week 3, we look at how we perceive, because we take our expectations, we take our fears, we take our personal conditioning with us into the out-of-body experience, because our psyche, soul comes with us. So we need to clarify our perception, which there's a class on, and then we're able to see more clearly. But that takes practice. I mean, that's hard enough to do in real life, isn't it? Like, crikey. So it does take some time. Okay, let's go for 2 more questions, and then we'll move on. I haven't been over this side, about the lady at the back with the top on, the beige one.
All right, thank you. So my question is, of course in Mindvalley we learn from many different teachers, right? And then most of the teachers actually promote or saying that we need to be more in our bodies and then be grounded, do grounding practice, and then we need to master connected with our body. And then, so it's a bit confusing for me, like if I'm not still practicing, being in my body, what would I want to be, have, out-of-body experience? And what's your view about that?
Yeah, so there's an assumption there that A, it's negative, and B, that it will make you less embodied to be practicing astral projection. Get this, you cannot astral project unless you are very embodied. It's paradoxical. I was a choreographer and a dance teacher for 15 years, and my degree before my transpersonal degree was in dance movement psychotherapy. Why had the universe given me 15 years of being a dance teacher, getting people to connect to their bodies? In order to help me to prepare people to leave their physical bodies. So I teach people you have to be embodied. You have to do the somatic work in order to hold the experiences. This is the difference between the mystic and the madman. So the shaman can hold the experiences because he's rooted in the earth plane, in the earth energy. So he can hold the air energy and hold the root. He can have these experiences and ground them back down and then share it with the community. The madman is ungrounded, disconnected from his body, and he flies off and he can tip into psychosis. So it's important to be grounded and embodied. And the exercise we're doing at the end is an embodiment exercise, so that we can be able to do astral projection. So I'd say, amazing, you're doing all of this embodiment work, somatic work. This is the perfect foundation for a practice in astral projection. So it's a very good thing. This gentleman in the blue t-shirt.
Thanks for all of this information, and I just wanted to ask 2 questions about the risks. Like, if this was a consequence of a very solid practice of yoga, of meditation, what are the risks of a person just entering into astral projection without knowing, without having a basis? And the second one is, for an astral projection, is necessary to go through the astral realm? Because as far as I don't know about this, but I've read is where all the trash that humanity that we are creating is there. So what are the reasons going there and even without a practice?
Yeah, so this is a great question about risks and safety. And again, thank you for asking, because the likelihood of someone else thinking the same thing is also there. So in the Buddhist tradition, which is my background, Vajrayana, they would train for 4 years before getting taught how to astral project. And even then, only certain people would be chosen. Because this is a practice that is taught in secret, usually, and it's passed down in a lineage. You won't find much information in spiritual traditions online. The reason why they have to spend 4 years is to practice a stable mind. So when you go out into these experiences, you don't go, oh my God, and all your beliefs come in and your trauma comes in and you freak out, which most of us do, let's face it, and I did at the start. So you can have a stable mind, mature consciousness, and go, okay, I'm going to be here, I'm going to surrender. So you're holding the space as it happens. This is why I teach a mindfulness approach, and we do so much mind training at the beginning to be able to hold that. The second reason is compassion. So they train to be able to do it for other beings. So when we do the workshop, I say you have to have an intention. Okay, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to work with? But then more importantly, is your motivation. Okay, why? Why are you doing this? Do you want to just go like my friend wants to and go spy on her ex-boyfriend to see what he's getting up to? Ethics, Danielle. Of course, you can do that, but you probably shouldn't. There's ethics in the astral projection plane. So compassion. So you decide what you want to do. So if you have a pure motivation, I want to do this to connect with my dead father, to heal grief and to get closure. I want to do this to be able to find my purpose in life and align with what I'm here to do. I want to do this, as in the Buddhist tradition, to help people who have passed on and are stuck in the bardo or the afterlife and need help to move out of that stuck mental pattern that they're in beyond the body in order to help them move on. So you have to have compassion. Otherwise, not dissimilar to the madman and the mystic, your ego can grow and be like, oh yeah, I'm an astral projector and I've got this superpower and I can do whatever I want in the astral plane. It curbs the ego. Too much ego in astral projection and you're in for a rocky ride. If anyone's done any kind of psychedelics or deep meditation, you know you have to surrender your shit. There's no ego in these kind of planes, or you can't get very far with it. So we work with compassion and mind training in order to be able to hold the experiences and do them for the right reasons. You do that, there are no risks because you're coming from a pure place and the universe is all about love. So we come from a place of love. Thank you. Okay. I'm just going to check the time. Okay, so what I want to do now is we're going to do an exercise. It's an embodiment exercise so that we can do 3 things. I teach this to beginners because it curbs 3 birds with 1 stone. I'm all about, okay, if I do an exercise, what is it going to help me with? So this is called the exhaustion technique. And this is to help us get to step 1, which is called the mind awake, body asleep state. If we don't reach this, you're not going to be able to astral project. This is when the body is completely relaxed, ideally to the point where you can't feel it, what we call total body dissolution. And then your mind is awake and aware. So we do it to exhaust the body. The second reason why we do it is to release fear and release anxiety, because we don't want to take it into the astral plane, right? So this is a scientifically proven technique to help release stress and release cortisol from the body. And the third reason that we do it is because it is embodiment work. It connects us to our body so we're able to feel where it is in space and time. And the other one is that it's really fun. So I'm going to guide you through it. And I'm going to tell you everything that's going to happen so there's no unexpectations. Just made up a word there. Okay, so this is called therapeutic tremoring. And this is what happens. You know when animals run away from lions and they get scared and they make it away, they shake their bodies. I don't know if anyone knows that. And is there anyone weird like me who shakes when they have I get intrusive thoughts, right? So I shake to get rid of it. No one taught me that, I just do it. It's weird, it's biological. This is because we are animals, we're humans. So we're gonna shake our bodies. We're gonna start with 1 limb at a time. We're gonna do our whole body, and then we're gonna shake. There'll be an invitation to shake with each other, should you wish to, and then we're gonna shake around the room. And you are allowed to come up on stage if you'd like to shake on the stage with me. Okay. If you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, what's she going to make us do? Crikey, I don't want to do this. It's okay. Calm down. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. You can do it in your seat though. So if you want to join in or you're feeling a bit tired or your body's hurting, you can do this in the seat. But I'd like to invite you to stand up. And we're going to start shaking our hands. Be aware if you have an injury, you don't shake any part of your body where you have an injury. Because it is the exhaustion technique, you would do this before your practice where you lie down, but it does mean that we're going to get tired. That's the point. So it is also fitness. Okay, we're going to do this to music because my background's in dance. And I like to have a boogie. You'll see me on Friday night. I'll be going crazy on the dance floor. Okay, so if we can play the track and then just copy off me or do your version of what I'm doing. 1 hand, just 1 hand. We're gonna go for a while, okay? Shaking the other hand, let's go. Very good, perfect start. You're all doing it 100% brilliant. Okay, shaking the arms up. side. Bring in your shoulders, give them a little shake. Yes, really nice, wonderful. And go your hips and your shoulders same time. You can either do the same as me or your own interpretation. Now one leg, just one leg. Just one leg. Just one leg. Very good. And the other leg. Shaking any way you wish. One leg, one leg. If you think you can, one, balance on one leg. And all together. Arms, shoulders, tummy, hips, knees, feet, and your head. Shaking the body forwards and back. If you'd like to make a sound to let anything go at the same time, you can. Good. Turning to a partner or someone near you, shaking with them. Don't forget your spine. How can your spine shake? Keep going, here we go.
Y'all don't want to hear me, you just don't dance.
Shake it with a different person. Turn to someone new.
Don't want to meet your daddy.
Hey. Shaking around the room. Moving through the space, shaking around the room. Shaking around the room. Feel the spaces. Look for a space. Shake into the space.
Hey, all right now. All right.
Keep going. Keep going.
Now what's cool?
Keep going.
Being cool. I can hear you.
And moving to a different space. Don't be scared of moving into different spaces.
All right. Okay, now ladies.
Coming onto the stage. Moving into the sides. Chicken. Get ready for the big shake.
Behavior. Lend me some sugar. I am your neighbor. Here we go. Shake it, 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 shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Yes, mate, yes.
Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, sugar. Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Keep going. I know you're getting tired. I'm knackered. Keep going.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Hips, hands, head. How can you shake in a different way? Keep going. Okay. Okay. Well done. Well done. Well done. Thank you for shaking, everybody. And whilst you're moving back to your seats, can you feel that life force, that tingling energy in your body? Yes? Thank you. That tingling life force is something we connect to in the out-of-body state. So you've had a little taste of what you might feel in the altered state when you ride it. This has been my talk on astral projection. Thank you.